Diddy claimed that somebody held a knife to his throat. He woke up and this guy basically had him and he had the knife, and Diddy was at this person's mercy. Now, it's unclear what exactly happened from there. Was there a guard that came in? Did Diddy somehow fight this person off? Well, it seems unlikely that happened. Or did the person just leave? Bottom line, this guy, at least according to people close to Diddy and Diddy himself, could have hurt him badly or even taken his life.
Sean Diddy Combs just discovered that when the pressure seals in, even men who once ruled entire rooms become vulnerable. People thought the 50-month sentence was the end of the fall. A cage, yes, but one where influence still traveled through phones, favors, and fear. Music, that illusion, shattered the moment Cold Steel found his neck inside a Brooklyn holding cell. This wasn't a sloppy act of prison chaos. It was a signal, a warning shot in a war he no longer commands. According to accounts circulating inside the Metropolitan Detention Center, the timing was no coincidence. The incident surfaced the same week whispers of a presidential lifeline collapse, erased by a flat, public dismissal from Washington. Whatever hope remained evaporated instantly. The figures paint a harsher truth. 2 solicitation convictions. Nearly 100 civil cases waiting their turn. Properties once flaunted as trophies, valued at over $500 million. Quietly withdrawn from sale, a private jet gone overnight, transferred to a buyer who left no paper trail. Even his defense team has privately acknowledged months without payment. His attorneys...
2 months?
4 years, 2 months in prison.
Wow.
He served a year, he gets some time. He gets 15% credit, so he'd be at 14-ish.
2.5 years.
2 months. So, and then he gets another 15% in the remaining.
Yeah.
He's out in 2 years.
Yeah. Should have stuck with the original guest.
I know.
Yeah. It's all being misread. His relatives call it persecution, but the arithmetic is brutal and uncomplicated. Someone behind those walls knows his routines, and someone beyond them has made certain he won't be leaving anytime soon. The more unsettling mystery isn't the hand that held the weapon. It's the source of the leaked recording, captured days before his arrest, where desperation replaced confidence as he pleaded for a narrative that could save him. Music, and why the voices that once praised his brilliance now answer with silence. This chapter isn't about staying alive. It's about control of the story, about legacy versus exposure. And the next document to surface won't arrive stamped by a judge. Music, it will arrive under the weight of a homicide inquiry. The blade drawn across Sean Diddy Combs' throat inside a Brooklyn detention cell was more than prison violence.
Shadows.
Are you concerned that Sean Diddy Combs could be assaulted, violently assaulted? Is that a thing? Because based on what was said in court, it feels like a thing.
It was the first visible crack in a power structure that once been around him. Administrators at the Metropolitan Detention Center reduced it to paperwork language, an isolated clash, another routine flare-up in a building where danger hums constantly. But men who've lived behind those doors tell a different story. They say nothing about it felt accidental. The incident unfolded in the quiet hours of an October morning, only days after his attorneys pushed forward an appeal challenging the length of his sentence. Even more striking was the timing, coming less than 3 days after word leaked that any hope of executive clemency had quietly died. In places like MDC Brooklyn, coincidence rarely survives scrutiny. There's a reason inmates don't aim for the neck unless they intend to be understood. This is the same facility where notoriety failed to shield other high-profile prisoners, where fame proved useless currency and reputation offered no protection. Violence there isn't chaos. It's communication. What's circulating now in low voices and half-finished sentences is that someone inside those walls understands Combs' true value. Not just his money, his pressure points, his exposure, his leverage. The court cases may be public record, but the weaknesses that matter most are being exchanged quietly, far from any courtroom. And that's what makes the moment unsettling. Not the injury itself, but the realization that the real transactions are happening where no cameras reach. This is where the narrative starts to warp. Music, the incident didn't happen in a vacuum. In the weeks leading up to it, talk circulated that Combs had been compensating other inmates for protection, an old survival tactic in federal custody. where the real currency isn't ramen or stamps, but access and knowledge. Music, his representatives maintain it was a defensive measure, something any recognizable name would consider necessary behind bars. But the setting complicates that explanation. Combs wasn't housed in general population. He was placed in the special housing unit, a controlled environment reserved for inmates who either present heightened risk or face it. SHU isn't chaotic. It's deliberate. Random altercations don't just happen there. It's where negotiations unfold quietly, where favors circulate, and where a single miscalculation about who holds leverage can escalate.
That footage ended up going to 50 Cent and his production company, and it's kind of the centerpiece.
Sold to them.
Yes, was the centerpiece of the documentary. So watch this particular scene, because this is where a lot of people feel Diddy really screwed over someone that he should be very, very thankful.
Fast. From inconvenience to catastrophe. Music, the fact that an officer stepped in before the situation spiraled only sharpens a mystery. Was this meant to be a signal, a pressure check, or something more strategic? A staged threat meant to establish vulnerability on paper, paving the way for a transfer, a concession, or a behind-the-scenes arrangement no one plans to acknowledge publicly. Then there's the question of the recordings, not the blurry surveillance clips that surface after every correctional incident, but the kind of material that never reaches the public unless someone wants it to. Footage that circulates privately. Footage with utility. Officially, Combs' legal team has kept its remarks minimal, but filings reveal the appeal strategy, an argument that the sentencing judge allowed evidence tied to acquitted charges, racketeering, coercion, broader conspiracy claims, to influence punishment on the 2 solicitation counts that actually resulted in convictions. It's a technical position, grounded in precedent. Still, the sequence is difficult to ignore. The appeal was submitted on October 19th. Music, the incident followed the very next night. Coincidence? Possibly. But in systems where information moves faster than paperwork, and where narrative control is often the last remaining asset, it's hard not to wonder whether the timing served a purpose. Perhaps not to cause harm, but to reinforce a reality. Whatever control Combs once wielded, it no longer resided with him. Even more revealing is the absence of response.
Well said. I suppose it could be coincidence. I don't think it's coincidence. And especially given the nature of the case.
Yes.
Because when you look at who is examining these various witnesses, especially female alleged victims, of which there will be 4.
His longtime confidants, his attorneys, his financial handlers, the publicists who once transformed every controversy into momentum, all silent. Music, no outrage, no calls for oversight, no public demands for accountability. That silence is abnormal. When a figure built on dominance and volume takes a hit like this, the machinery usually roars to life. Statements, leaks, legal threats, allies circling the wagons. This time, there's nothing. The only sound comes from elsewhere, from accusers who've waited years for leverage to shift, from competitors who never stop watching, and from the prison rumor network, an ecosystem where fragments of truth mutate quickly and whispers once released don't stay harmless for long. Sean Diddy Combs just discovered that when the pressure seals in, even men who once ruled entire rooms become vulnerable. People thought the 50-month sentence was the end of the fall. A cage, yes, but one where influence still traveled through phones, favors, and fear. Music, that illusion shattered the moment Cold Steel found his neck inside a Brooklyn holding cell. This wasn't a sloppy act of prison chaos. It was a signal, a warning shot in a war he no longer commands. According to accounts circulating inside the Metropolitan Detention Center, the timing was no coincidence. The incident surfaced the same weak whispers of presidential lifeline collapse, erased by a flat, public dismissal from Washington. Whatever hope remained evaporated instantly. The figures paint a harsher truth. 2 solicitation convictions. Nearly 100 civil cases waiting their turn.